Binge eating doesn't just steal your control with food, it lies to you. It tells you things and you believe them. I want you to think about some of the things that your binge eating voice has told you. You're going to be like this forever. You have no power. You are not the one in control. Nobody understands. You cannot change. You must go eat right now. Urgent food immediately. All of these things, lies. And today I want to talk about the biggest lies that your binge eating is telling you so that you can break free from this toxic pattern and behavior and actually create the healthy, happy, peaceful relationship with food that you have been craving. Let's dive in. The first lie that your binge eating voice is telling you that we need to debunk immediately is that you will never have a normal relationship with food. I remember back in August of 2016, I locked myself out of my apartment. I sat on the curb and I cried because I had been binge eating all day long. And you know, one of the most overwhelming thoughts and feelings that I was having in that moment, yes, I was disgusted with my behavior. Yes, I was disappointed in myself, but more than anything, I was afraid. I was afraid that I was going to be struggling with binge eating for the rest of my life. In 2016, I was 30 years old, and I remember trying to imagine myself at 70, 75, 80 years old, still binging. How was I going to function in my life, hiding, lying, sneaking, feeling shame and guilt and disappointment because of food for my entire life? That was not something that I felt excited about. But the thing about food addiction is that it is unlike any other addiction. You don't just get to cold turkey stop eating. Unfortunately, and kind of fortunately, food is something that we need in order to sustain life. If we give up eating, we are going to die. It is not like other addictions. Therefore, you need to create a healthy and normal relationship with food. And that starts and ends with the belief that you are capable of creating the change that you want and overcoming binge eating. One of the first things that I did when I started working on healing my relationship with food was I told myself on a daily basis, I am an intuitive eater who respects her body. Because for so many years, I had identified as a binge eater with this belief that this is just who I was and who I was going to be for the rest of my life. I had to learn that binge eating is not an identity. Binge eating is a habit. Binge eating is a pattern. Binge eating is a behavior. And good for me, I am able to change my patterns and habits and behaviors, and so are you. And the thing that you need to understand is that you do not need to fix or heal or change any other part of yourself before you can create a healthy relationship with food. I spent so many years convincing myself that I had to heal my daddy issues. I had to heal my trauma. I had to heal my childhood dysfunction before I could have a normal and healthy relationship with food. All of it was wrong because, hey, 40 years old, still got daddy issues, working on it. But I now have a completely healthy and normal relationship with food, over 8 years binge free, and have more peace and freedom with my relationship with food than I ever could have imagined possible, because I realized I don't need to change my identity. I just need to change my patterns and habits and behaviors. I was capable of that, and you, my love, are as well. The second lie that your binge eating is telling you is that you have already messed up, so you might as well just keep going. If you are a binge eater, I can almost guarantee that you also struggle with all or nothing thinking. And that voice in your head, once you have a bite of something that wasn't on your meal plan or you weren't quote unquote supposed to have, your brain starts to spiral and it starts to convince you, hey girl, you already messed up. Why don't you just keep this going? And what happens is we turn one snack or one treat into a full-fledged week-long binge because we feel like we have already messed up. When you can create a neutral relationship with food where it's not tied up in all of this emotion, you can realize that eating 3 Oreos actually means nothing about you. But when there is guilt and when there is shame and there is disappointment tied to that decision, we then start to feel like, well, I might as well just keep going because I already screwed up and I already feel bad about it. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you do not start feeling better by doing more of the thing that hurt you in the first place. If you ate in a way that made you feel disappointed, sad, or shameful, we need to be unpacking the fact that you shouldn't be feeling any of those emotions related to food at all whatsoever. But there's one thing that I can promise you, and that's that doing more of that thing is not going to help you feel better. You have not messed up by eating something, and you certainly do not need to continue to sabotage yourself by doing more of the thing that hurt you in the first place. You, my love, have full permission to say no to the things that hurt you, and sometimes that means not allowing ourselves to continue indulging in a binge because we know at the end of the day, it is only damaging us. Lie number 3 that your binge eating is telling you, and this is a big one, is that there's nothing else that will help you feel better. I don't know who needs to hear this, but food does not fix your problems. And I know that for so many of us, myself included, we have used food as a coping mechanism. I was 9 years old when I learned that a donut could make me feel better in my life. My dad, long story short, was abandoning my family, sat me and my brother down at a Dunkin' Donuts and basically said, I'm moving 22 hours away to start a new family, and I'm just not going to see you for the foreseeable future. I had a chocolate glazed donut sitting in front of me, and let me tell you, I learned that that donut could make me feel better as I sat there in that moment, begging my father not to leave me, and he basically said, too bad, so sad, I am going anyway. At 9 years old, I started turning to food to feel better because I realized I couldn't depend on the people around me to help me feel the way that I wanted to feel. And I spent the next 20 years of my life using food to cope with everything that happened. Everything good, everything bad, everything sad, everything happy, anything in between and everything in between. I was turning to food to feel better. And I know that if this is your only coping mechanism right now, it might genuinely feel like food is the only thing that is going to fix the problem. But I think if you can step into the logical part of your brain and take one step back and look at your life with a bird's eye view, you can be genuine and honest with yourself and realize food has never actually fixed any problem in your life. If anything, food has made it worse, because now not only do you feel bad about the fact that something bad is happening in your life, but you also feel bad about the fact that you have used food to cope with that thing. So I need you to learn and understand that there are a million other healthy coping mechanisms beyond food. Food isn't actually fixing the problem. Start getting curious about what are the things that actually make you feel good. What is it that you're looking to feel? And start racking your brain and asking yourself, what are things besides food that genuinely help me feel that way? And start doing more of those things so you can actually fix what you're feeling rather than turning to food and ending up feeling worse. Lie number 4 that I want to debunk for you is that you are the only one who behaves like this with food. I remember back in 2016, before I had openly shared that I was a binge eater with anybody, I remember feeling so alone. And because of that, I felt so isolated and I felt so much shame. 2 primary keys to keeping this cycle alive. I felt like nobody got it, so I couldn't talk about it. And I felt so much shame and embarrassment because I had struggled with the size of my body for my whole entire life. I had been teased about the way that I ate for my whole entire life. So the last thing that I ever wanted to do was be honest with anybody about the fact that I was binge eating. It did not feel good for me to be honest. And when I started being honest, people started looking at me like I had 10 heads. They're like, what are you talking about? I have no idea. What do you mean you're eating when you're not hungry? This doesn't make any sense. But the people who get it, get it. And hi, my name is Jessica Battle. I am a recovered binge eater, and I mean it when I say I get it. If we are not connected, follow me on Instagram, join_Jessica_XO. Send me a DM, have a conversation with me. I am so happy to reiterate for you that you are not alone in this journey. Binge eating is lying to you and wanting you to believe that you are the only one doing this because it wants to keep you isolated. It wants to keep you feeling bad. It wants to keep you stuck in a cycle of shame. But I'm here to tell you, you are not alone and change is possible for you. And the final lie that I want to share with you today that your binge eating is telling you is that this is the last time. How many times has that voice in your head tried to convince you that it is okay to binge, justifying your behavior by telling you this is the last time. This is the last time you are ever going to do this. You will never, ever, 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 ever eat like this again. You, my love, know that that is a lie. And that is your binge voice trying to justify the choice that is right in front of you. It is trying to help you make peace with the fact that you are getting ready to do something that is going to hurt you because, well, you will never, ever do it again. I need you to understand that this is a lie. Your binge voice is just looking to get you to participate in what it wants you to do. It is very important for you to learn to understand what the cycle of binge eating looks like. And it is important for you to recognize that the way that you break free from your binge eating is by interrupting the voice in your head that tells you it's time for you to go and eat. It is time for you to binge now. I need you to be strong enough and courageous enough to sit with that voice and tell it, no, I am not doing this right now because I know that it is not going to make me feel the way that I want to feel. One of the most powerful things that we need to do as binge eaters, tools and skills that I was never taught in my life, is to have the self-awareness enough to have honest conversations with yourself in the moment and to be able to create the foresight of how you are going to reap consequences for the behavior that you are getting ready to participate in. I know that our parents tried to teach us when we were younger to understand the consequences of our decisions. What I need you to understand about your binge eating is that the consequence of saying yes and giving into the binge is strengthening the neural pathway between that habit. So basically, every time your binge voice tells you it's time to go eat and you give in, you are strengthening the power of that voice. If we want to take away the power of your binge voice, we need to practice saying no. And we need to learn to say no, not from a place of restriction because we are allowed to eat, but from a place of I recognize that this pattern and habit and behavior is not serving me in my life. It is very important for you to be real and honest with yourself about how binge eating is hurting you and damaging you in your life. When we can see the damage that something is doing to us, it makes us 10 times more likely to actually get away from doing it. So I need you to be honest with yourself. Stop holding on to the fact that food has been a comfort for you. Stop holding on to the fact that this is your identity and you're going to be this way forever. Stop holding on to the fact that you need to change some deep-seated part of yourself before you can create change with your relationship with food. These are all lies that your binge eating is trying to continue to tell you to keep you stuck in the cycle so it can get what it wants. But you, my love, have the power to make those changes. You don't beat binge eating by creating more resistance and more tension with your relationship with food. The fight here is not against food. The fight is against the lies that your brain has been telling you that makes you believe that you are damaged, that makes you believe you need to be this way forever, that makes you believe that you are alone in this journey and nobody gets it. Because the more you believe the lies that your binge eating is telling you, the easier it is to keep you stuck in the cycle of this behavior. If you resonated with any of these lies today, I need you to know they are not facts. Your thoughts are not facts. And the first step to creating the changes you want to with your relationship with food are to call these lies what they are: poetic bullshit. I love you guys so very much. I hope you have such an amazing day, and I will chat with you next week here on a brand new episode of the Queen of Pep Talks podcast. See ya.